Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, I've been thinking about, what I want to do here, right, with my content, things like that. And on a very basic level, it comes down to I just want to deliver a positive message to good men. Now, I believe that most men are good men, right? Like, I'm not being all judgmental or classifying or anything like that. I believe that most men are willing to do, a day's work for a day's wages. I believe that the good man, he understands that his life, whatever it may be, requires some toil, some sacrifice, some work. And the attitude that he brings to that, it matters, and the overarching goal of that, it matters. So if the man foolish and hedonistic and just wants to, fulfill his pleasure, it's going to lead to a bad place. And I think that most men, most people, they know that, right? But we get knocked down. The people, especially the men, they get like their own thoughts and their own feelings fold in on themselves. And it's like the existence within the individual, within the man, is miserable. It's horrible daily toil. Now, I'm not a hugely religious person, but I read a lot. So, I'm talking about Ecclesiastics, right? I'm talking about there is a time. There is a time to cry, there is a time to laugh, there is a time to dance, there is a time to, settle down, there is a time for peace, there is a time for war. This is our lot in life. And if we can have a decent attitude towards this stuff that we have to do, that's a blessing, And I believe that the good, strong man, I believe that he accepts that, right? And further, I believe that the culture, the society, the consumer society, our political system, the idea that people want control, straight up, and to not have control, to not feel like you can influence the outcome of a particular situation is to feel like a victim. And it's a horrible feeling. So the people act out in whatever way they can. For example, the child pitches a fit. The emotional person gets all upset and then acts like other people are responsible for that. And that is largely what we're dealing with. Right? So here's this population of good men willing to work, willing to sacrifice, willing to toil to make their way in life, but they want this fair exchange. This is largely who I feel, my audience is. And the system is cheating the hell out of them. It's stealing from them. It's not allowing them to have any honor or dignity in what they do. And, what positive message can I give to you in that situation? But to say, you have to go your own way. You have to validate yourself. Now, this is not entirely possible because you live and we live in a world with other people. So, you're getting up and maybe you're saying good morning to somebody. Maybe you're saying, hey, can I get some sugar? Can I get a cigarette from you? Maybe they're saying that to you. And this is our lot. This is our toil. And we bear it with grace and dignity and with a vision for the future. And it's a positive one. It's one of justice and fairness and equity, where if a good person wants to earn their way, they can do so. But that's not the system that the good men, and sure, even some of the good women, are finding themselves in. And it's this horrible quest for control, for influence, manipulation. It goes back to, Ayn Rand. This quest for unearned resources, this quest for unearned influence. That's who and what you're dealing with in the world. And no, that is not supposed to be part of our lot and our toil, right? So, you've got a construction crew of 10 good men, and you've got one man who likes to drink and, and mess off. and you give him a job and he comes onto the site and suddenly you're not getting any work done. And suddenly all of your workers are looking at you like, you're the oppressor when you're the one who's paying them. And we see this as this like kind of emotional, feminine manipulation, okay? I've got guys, within MGTOW, comment and stuff like that, very bitter, very angry, very resentful. What the hell? I don't know them. I didn't do anything to them. You know what I mean? They're acting like, they got some personal grudge with me. I could tell you some funny stories about stuff like this and how we get pulled in and roped in to this meaningless interaction with people who have their feelings hurt and they're not on the good course. They're not trying to do the right thing. They get what they want. They get fat. They get sick. And the people around them who are doing the good work, they get cheated, they get stolen from. And this is what I put up with in my life. Trying to raise myself up. And no, the people around me, no, they don't want to see it that way. I've got people so stupid, okay, that they actually think that I'm looking to them for leadership. It really is the Dunning-Kruger effect. They don't know how stupid they are. And the intelligent people are always looking for possible explanations, right? It is the Yeats poem. The best of us are filled with doubt and the worst of us with passionate intensity. Yes, that's what you're dealing with. You are the best of them, and you are filled with doubt, and that was intentional. And the worst of us, those who want, say, free resources from the government, those who want to play the victim, those who want to blame others for their emotional state and thereby gain some sort of resource or advantage as a result. Or maybe they want to gain an excuse to not be held to the standard that everybody else is held to. And then therefore we can just take that standard and throw it in the garbage. But you're a working man and you have your standards. And there are standards that you must rise up to. Those of the other men, those of the other good, hardworking people who are willing to sacrifice, who are willing to toil with a good attitude. And many of the people around you, no doubt the majority, and certainly the dependents, they invert the worth of your noble actions and your virtue. So the good men, the good people going around trying to do the good things, and more than half of the other people are saying you are being oppressive, you are unworthy, you do not deserve moral, ethical, legal consideration. And we will twist every aspect of this system, which was set up to be fair, to our advantage and to your disadvantage. And we will proclaim the principles that you value as our motivation to do the exact opposite. So what I'm saying to you is that you're not crazy, right? Like it took a long while to get there. You're not crazy. This frustration that you're feeling, also not misplaced, not inappropriate. Here's the hard part. I don't necessarily have the solution for you, okay? I say to you, work on your internal self. Work on your internal strength. Do not look to this consumer trivial world for your internal validation. And yet, yes, you need to earn a living. Yes, you need to be treated with respect and dignity for you to move forward with proper motivation. And, I don't care how strong or how healthy anybody is, but if you put them in a room with somebody who's really sick, like has a virus, like, biological infection, well, that other person is probably going to get sick too. And I'm talking about this also in an emotional and psychological context. So if you've got the good attitude, if you've got the right attitude, you're trying to move forward in life, you're around somebody who wants to play the victim, who wants to get a bunch of free bullshit, who wants to blame a bunch of people, who doesn't want to be held to any standards, they're going to tear you to pieces. And they're going to do it in such a manipulative way that, they're going to gaslight you. You're going to think you're crazy. And I'm saying to you, as strong, good men, you're not crazy, okay? And future content will prove that to you. So go ahead and click on the subscribe button. And if you're feeling really generous and you really want to make a difference, find my Cash App donation link. Click on it. Let Howard Dare buy himself a cup of coffee. Let us give the validation to the men and the people who deserve it. And let us build that future. Okay, because anyway, please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate, and join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.